Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our daily get together live here on Facebook, except today is not live. This is the third and final day of pre recorded shows. I took a small vacation, and it is Wednesday, December 16 for you. It is actually Sunday night for me. But this morning, it is December 16 for you, and it is always a pleasure to get together here with you every morning, exchanging headlines, comments, topics, suggestions, ideas, and all kinds of wonderful information to keep us connected to this place we love so much. We call it Puerto Vallarta. This is our home, and we are a community of English-speaking locals trying to best enjoy our time here. If this is your first time visiting, please know that we're always live, except for this is only the second time that we have pre-recorded. The previous time we went on vacation to San Sebastián del Oeste, and right now, I am in Maito with some dear friends, enjoying a little bit of R&R, rest and relaxation, and relajo. Relajo in Spanish means crazy fun. And I'm actually looking forward to coming back. By this point on the trip, I'm sure that time has gone by, and I've enjoyed myself, and I've had great conversations with my friends. I've enjoyed the sun, the sand. I've visited the turtle camp. I've taken a few photos and videos. And at this stage of the game, I am sure I'm going to be missing my dear Luna terribly. The good thing is that she's being looked at by my dear neighbor, Dina, who always looks after her when I leave, like I've left a lot this year. Who has traveled anywhere this year? I have been yearning to get out of Puerto Vallarta, and I'm sure you feel the same. However, I've chosen to stay put because I haven't had opportunities to go to a place that is really remote and where I don't have to worry so much about COVID and things like that. The beautiful thing is that we're surrounded by small towns where, you still need to be careful about what's going on, but it's not as overwhelming as, say, going to a larger city. I know that some of you are used to traveling quite a bit, and I admire anyone that feels like going through the stamina and the craziness of traveling and going to airports and stuff like that. I've been fortunate enough that I haven't needed to do that. And I hope that I'll be able to go back to the big city at some point in the near future. I miss traveling, and I miss some of the cultural events that we can afford to enjoy in Guadalajara, for example. But even that kind of activity is still not anywhere near from coming back. And speaking of coming back, of course, I'll be coming back to Puerto Vallarta this afternoon, and we'll be ready to broadcast live tomorrow morning. I will have all kinds of stories. Oh dear, I left the menorah on, and I think the menorah is still supposed to be on. Yes, for a couple of nights, I'm sure. Anyhow, let's do a little recap. Monday, we shared a walking tour. I hope you enjoyed it. We traveled through Colonia Emiliano Zapata, which is our very popular tourism neighborhood, as you know it. And then yesterday, I hope you got a kick out of Juan Pablo and my sketchy, questionable rendition of the Mexican Posadas. The Mexican Posadas traditionally would start today and would continue until Christmas Eve. But of course, we know those kinds of gatherings are not to be had this year, or really shouldn't. Any kind of gatherings should not be had this time of year and this year round, simply because of the times that we're going through. But hopefully, by the time I come back, I will have taken a look at a nice summary of news and good news, hopefully, to share with you. So anyhow, walking tour on Monday, crazy singing on Tuesday, and of course today is Walking Wednesday, and I will not disappoint. I have another walking tour prepared for you that I want to share. However, this is a different kind of walking tour, and I'm not even sure that you're expecting this. Well, then again, I've shown you around Versalles, which is fairly residential, and it's actually not all that exciting to look at. I mean, it's simply where we live. And today we are going to go wander through another residential neighborhood. Full disclaimer, it's right around the corner from where I live, so it's shamelessly convenient for me to do this. My other option was to try to get to some other exciting location, but unfortunately time didn't allow. But I recorded this like just as I was starting with this really incessant nose drip that we've been talking about. No, I never expected to be talking about my nose's drippage on the show, but the day that we did, you were extremely supportive, and I very much appreciated that. But you will notice this was recorded last week, and I was still sniffling around quite a bit. So where are we going? We are going to go to a neighborhood called Las Gaviotas. Let me show you on the map where we are going. Check it out. Oh no, that's not supposed to happen. Why did that happen? Maybe because I'm using the wrong program. Let me fix this. I think I can do that by doing this. Ah, yes. Fantastic. Anyhow, see, I'm doing that. Anyhow, let me just give you a little bit of bearings. I'm going to zoom out for a second. Here is the main avenue. And here is Versalles, this neighborhood that we've been discussing so much. And yours truly lives over here. And over here is Costco and La Comer and so forth and so on. Now, usually, if I'm going to go to Costco and La Comer, the easiest thing for me to do is to walk down Francisco Villa and simply walk down this way on a very busy and noisy road, and get to La Comer and get to Costco and so forth and so on. But something that I like to do every now and then is to walk through Las Gaviotas, which is this neighborhood over here, and Jardines de las Gaviotas, which is this neighborhood over here. As you will see, these are completely residential neighborhoods, and I will be commenting through the video on the fact that the neighborhood association has been very, very specific at not authorizing any kind of tall building construction in the neighborhood. So it is one of the original first out of the city colonias that were built so many years ago. And it was a hike to get there. You have to remember that back in the 70s and so forth and so on, none of this part of the town existed. So anyhow, what do I do when I want to go to Costco, but I'm not in a hurry? Instead, I will get out of my house and I will go down this little road that I'm showing you with my arrow, and I end up coming this way and so forth and so on. Let me keep going, and we end up at this corner. And right at this corner, three wonderful things happen. There's a great juice store or restaurant that serves fresh juices, which is really lovely. But that is also the corner where Bonito Kitchen is located. And right next door to Bonito Kitchen is Siam Cuisine. And of course, if you've been a regular Coffee and Headlines viewer, you know that I have this crazy addiction to Thai food, and that is where I get it. So it's very easy for me to do this walk, and I do it quite frequently. And of course, if I'm going to go shopping in Costco, I'll just continue along the main road and I'll go to Costco. Or sometimes I will walk to Costco down the main road, and if I'm not carrying too many things, I can stop on the way back at Siam Cuisine and get some food for takeout, which is always wonderful. So this is going to be a completely relaxing, uneventful neighborhood walk. Now, why would I do it? Well, first of all, because if you're looking for a comfortable place to go out walking and exercising and so forth and so on, and you have been concerned about being surrounded by a lot of people, this is a good place to do it. The only caveat to that is that it is all cobblestoned, and some of the sidewalks are not very steady or very even. So it's not like a neighborhood where you could go jogging or anything, but it is definitely a neighborhood that is very relaxed, very laid back, as you will see on the video. And also, the second thing that I find absolutely fascinating on this walk is the trees. This is just packed with beautiful, old, tall, ginormous trees that I am sure that you are going to enjoy during the walk. The narrative or the narration during the walk is very sketchy, not a lot of talking, just because it should be a nice walk for you to just wander around with your eyes. I sincerely hope you will enjoy it. Here it goes. It's a beautiful day to be out for a walk. And today, I had planned a day to stay home all day long and get some work done. Of course, in doing so, I didn't plan properly because I have absolutely nothing to cook in the house. So today we're going to take a walk to find some nourishment. I'm going to walk from my house to Siam Cuisine, and we're going to get some food. And in doing so, I'm going to walk through a very interesting neighborhood called Las Gaviotas. And next door to Las Gaviotas is Jardines de las Gaviotas. Las Gaviotas means the seagulls. And Las Gaviotas is a residential neighborhood that was developed during the 1970s. Now think about this for a second. Actually, let me cross this street. I'm about to cross Vienna Street. We've been at this intersection before. And there we go. We are now entering Las Gaviotas. And as I was mentioning, Las Gaviotas was designed or developed in the 1970s here in Puerto Vallarta. Now, at the time, it was only the second residential neighborhood that was developed in Puerto Vallarta. The first one was Conchas Chinas. And of course, we know Conchas Chinas is still there, and Las Gaviotas is still there. But one of the basic differences between one and the other is that Conchas Chinas grew to become this enormous mixture of residences and towers, whereas Las Gaviotas has resisted the development of vertical buildings. So walking through Las Gaviotas is this treat that takes you through entirely peaceful, quiet residential streets, as you can see. Another nice thing about walking Las Gaviotas is the enormous amount of trees that have not been cut down and that are still respected by the neighborhood association. Now, what was this like back in the 70s? Well, back in the 70s, Pitillal was not a part of Puerto Vallarta. It was still a town that was connected to Puerto Vallarta by nothing more than a dirt road. That dirt road eventually would become Francisco Villa Avenue. And of course, Pitillal would eventually become part of Puerto Vallarta. But back then, living in this neighborhood was really living outside of town. And today, the only people that continue to live here are large families, because these are all pretty sizable properties. So most of the people that continue to have residences here are some of the older families. And there have been attempts. Check out this tree. I mean, this tree is just magnificent, and it's old. And thank goodness it has been protected by the neighborhood. So as I was saying, there have been attempts to develop in this neighborhood. There's still quite a few pieces of land that haven't been developed. But every time any kind of proposal that has come forth that has involved building apartment buildings or building vertically rather, this has been turned down by the neighborhood association. Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Look at this tree. It is sticking out from a wall in a property, and it is just enormous. As I'm walking by, I'm seeing some for sale signs here and there. It must be expensive if you don't have a large family to maintain some of these large properties. But if you're looking for a home in the more traditional sense, this is a very peaceful neighborhood. And at least you have the guarantee, for the time being anyway, that the neighborhood association will not allow uncontrolled development here in this part of town. Now I'm reaching the intersection that shows the boundary between Las Gaviotas, and once we cross the street, we enter Jardines de las Gabiotas. But I love this intersection because every time I'm here, I turn around and look at that enormous tree. See, that enormous tree is in an empty lot, and I don't know if that lot has an owner or not, but if anybody wanted to build something there and attempted to remove that gorgeous tree, I mean, they would just be crucified, I imagine. Now, as we enter Jardines de las Gaviotas, it's still a residential neighborhood, but the homes are more adapted to a more recent form of living. The houses are smaller. There are some new constructions, but then there are some houses that are not so new, but the common thread on this side, for the most part, is that the residences are smaller. This particular corner of Jardines de las Gaviotas is really nice because you have all these smaller houses, and right in the middle of it all, there's this beautiful park. I have a couple of friends that live in this neck of the woods, people that you know. But look at this gorgeous park. It's carefully pruned, or pruned enough so that it is not out of control, but it is not intervened in such a way that it feels too well put together. And of course, look at the size of most of these trees. These trees have been here forever. So it is a nice site. And again, it's a very nice residential neighborhood. In case you're wondering, we've been pretty much, in one way or another, walking parallel to Avenida Francisco Villa, just taking a little bit more of a windy road. And we are not so far from Costco. We are not so far from a lot of conveniences and amenities that this neighborhood has to offer, including restaurants and whatnot. And once we get here, of course, we run into some well-known venues. For example, here is this side of town's branch of Malibu, which is a very popular juice place. And right in front of me is Bonito Kitchen, which, as we know, is about to open another branch in Colonia Emiliano Zapata. And right next to Bonito Kitchen, we find, well, Bonito Kitchen is closed. Of course, Siam is open or about to open. Okay. I know that was an unexpected ending. Unfortunately, what happened when I reached Siam Cuisine is that they were not open yet. They had like another 20-30 minutes to go. It would have been my original intention to actually walk all the way into the restaurant, but they were still setting it up. Excuse me. So it was impossible for me to do a pretty beautiful ending as I would have expected. But at least now you have a sense as to where these things are. And if you're not familiar with these neighborhoods, I hope you will give yourself the time to explore them one of these days, because a lot of people live here. Is it convenient to some of the things a lot of English speaking folk are used to? Probably not. But then again, I'm never cease to be amazed at how many folks from the English speaking community are living in this side of town, and I can understand why. Over here, it is a lot quieter, it is less expensive, and we just have a good time. So that was the walk for today. I truly, truly hope you enjoyed it. As I mentioned before, tomorrow we'll be back live, and we will be back doing the things that we always do, which is connecting and reading comments and enjoying the questions and all the interaction that we so much enjoy. Once again, I appreciate so much that you gave me the opportunity to take a small break from broadcasting every single day. I enjoy it very much, but it is also nice to get away and just recharge batteries. And this is exactly what I have done, or what I hope I will have done. I will have a full report tomorrow morning, along with a summary of some of the important news that may have taken place in the city and in Mexico over the past 3 days. So hopefully I will see you again tomorrow morning, and if not tomorrow morning, sometime in the very near future. Between now and then, as always, we appreciate very much your company, and we are so very grateful that you are a part of our Coffee and Headlines community. I hope you have a super day. It is Wednesday hump day, and I hope to see you bright and early tomorrow morning at 10:30 in the morning. As always, between now and then, have an awesome day.